kidnapped a dude. And the dude is not here. He was catching release. We may have broke the dude. I'm Holly Rasmussen.
I'm Zoe Vais.
I'm Julie Vithoulkas.
Margaret Christopher.
And Grant Bursey was our dude. So this inception of this team started last year when I attempted it on a paddleboard. And when I stepped on, and I couldn't come here last year because I would have cried for the entire interview. So I'll give you 1 minute on last year, which was, I stepped on my paddleboard. I'd been training for 8 or 9 months. Stepped on my paddleboard, put my paddle in the water, and the handle sheared off right before the race. So I went to Go Mama Go, who got like 4th place. They had an entire roll of duct tape. Taped my handle back on, and I made it to Fay Bainbridge before I completely collapsed. So that was last year, and then I knew I wanted to do it this year, and I knew I did not want to do it on a paddleboard again. It was too slow, and it was too hard. And I also really wanted to try rowing, and so Margaret and I got together, and Margaret's been rowing forever. So she basically in 10 months taught me how to row, and then we started talking about this. So we put a team together, and interject anytime.
I figured if we did it in a double, we'd kill each other.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think that I wasn't quite up to a double.
And we didn't really have a boat, so I found that there was a boat out on the peninsula that was a touring quad, so it had hatches on either end and lots of storage, and it was really burly, and it belonged to the Olympic Peninsula Rowing Association, so they kindly lent it to us. And then they lost their space temporarily, and like in February they said, "Can you take it right now?" So we were like, "Sure." So they drove it over, and we kept it in the Pocock Boathouse until like we incurred so much wrath that we had to find another place for it because it took up a lot of space. And
it's a big girl.
It's
big
a
boy.
big boy. It's a big boy.
Big boy, right?
She's a big girl.
The Dennis Duncan is a girl?
The Dennis Duncan is
There's definitely a girl.
Oh, are all of them?
It's a girl.
I don't know if I agree.
This is 21st century now. What if it identifies as a boy?
Exactly!
The Dennis Duncan is gender fluid.
Sorry, you're right.
So I started talking about this in the boathouse, and I think that just sort of drew people in. Like, I don't know how Zoe even. Did I ask you?
You asked me, and you were like, "It'll be great. We'll take it slow. It'll just be for the adventure. We can stop and get a hotel." And I was like, "Maybe." And I really thought about it, and then I missed the first meeting, and I got an email that said, "Here's the plan. No stops. We're going straight through." And I was like, "But I'm already on the email list. I can't back out now."
Okay, well, I'm glad to know that that works.
And I wasn't even on the original team. I got a text message from Margaret one day that said, "Hey, can you come out and cox a boat this afternoon? A new quad is showing up." And I was like, "Sure, I don't know what's going on, but I'll show up at the boathouse and cox something." And I get there and I look up at the trailer and I'm like, "What is this magnificent beast?"
She's so in love with
She like literally said that.
It's got hatches. It's amazing. What is going on here? And then I saw the rudder, which is just this giant whale tail. I'm like, what? And then they explained to me that they were doing this race called 7048, and that it was 70 miles in 48 hours from Tacoma to Port Townsend. I was like, that's my kind of crazy. What is happening? And so we got the boat down and put her in the water, and I fell in love with the Dennis Duncan and these ladies and the crazy plan to tackle this adventure. Yeah, like I can't even say enough about this group and how fun this has been and the energy. It's just been a hoot. And really just, I'm so grateful. But the Dennis Duncan laying eyes on her, I was like, what the hell just happened here? Is this like really a thing that I'm looking at? We can go and take on open water in this rowing quad. Amazing. And then I stood up in the coxswain seat and I was like, this is even better.
Big seat, yes.
So to start talking about our race experience, we trained a bit separately and did some rows together, but really didn't do like a lot of extensive or long distance training. So we, like, honest to God, did not know what we were gonna experience.
We kind of threw it together on the water in the race.
Yeah, and so
we really got to see what we were made of.
yeah, and it turns out the plan was not super clarified. We had talked about no stops, we had talked about like these stops, and we got out there and we're just rowing and it felt pretty good, and we had decided to rotate our coxswain every hour, not really accounting for the fact that that takes time. So turns out it was great because then you only rowed for like 4 hours at a time, but it also meant that we were like killing 20 minutes every hour to rotate, but that was fun and kept us going in the long run. And but one of the big things that I think was our first big snag as a team is that we hadn't all, I was like, I'm gonna sleep train so I can get like through the night, no problem. So I had been like going to bed at 3 in the morning all week and waking up whenever, and I hadn't like discussed with the team to do that as a plan. So around 5 in the morning, everybody is crashing hard, and I'm like bushy-tailed beaver. Ghost rowing. Julie had been fighting sleep for like
the dead. These two in the back passed out.
Julie fell asleep on her handles at one point. Yeah, she passed out on her handles, had no idea. She was like, I turned around, I'm like, Julie.
But before that, I was rowing while asleep. I was actually aware that I was dreaming and rowing at the same time. And every so often, I would just kind of lose it, and I would be like, going down. And then I'd pop back up. Okay, I can take a few more strokes.
At least you were popping back up though. Grant rotated the coxswain seat and his eyes were so bloodshot. His face was gray. And he was doing the head bob down as he was supposed to be steering the boat. Head bob down, and he wasn't even shooting back up, he was going like and I'm like face to face with him. Like, thankfully Holly's like being chipper behind me and keeping me going, but like I'm face to face with zombie Grant, getting updates from Margaret. Julie's out again. Just like doing my best to get us to Bainbridge so we can stop.
Against the current too. So we were going like maybe. I lied at one point and told them we were going 5.5 miles an hour. We're going like 2.5. We're going 5. You guys are moving good.
Did you guys have a discussion that went something like, okay, we can all agree that we're all having issues right now?
Yeah.
Because if they did, I heard you.
That
was us. Yes, that was us.
People around us, and like all these other.
And you think you're just having a conversation with yourself out there? It's like
carrying miles
people
across
in
the room.
Magnolia are like, oh, there's somebody having an issue. That was us. We weren't fighting. We were just struggling.
I was just a little bit ahead of you, and I could hear you guys talking. I could tell you were so tired.
Yeah.
We're like rolling to stop, and like, oh, they are really tired.
Yeah. I was right behind Zoe, and she go, timing Holly, and go, yep. And I get right back in. And
I was like looking over my shoulder because Grant's eyes were closed, and I was like, we gotta go to port, Grant! So it was a bit of a rough one.
It was time for a break.
I really felt for you guys at that
By the
point.
time we got to Bainbridge, we all crashed for 2 hours.
Everybody crashed except me.
you.
Because I was so awake.
She was just wired. She was
So I was like laying there in my safety blanket, like waiting for my alarm to go off with my eyes open. And then we set out again, and I was like, okay, cool, now I'm gonna crash. And they're all like, I'm ready. And so
First we encountered Mullet Man.
oh yeah, Mullet Man was there.
like coffee. It was like an angel.
4957, the guy with the white fuzzy.
Oh, man.
He was in
Yeah,
the
he was in like full on,
hair metal.
Yeah, so he was at Bainbridge passing out snacks, but I also heard he was in his boat singing, "Oh, you're halfway there."
In a total Bon Jovi outfit.
Yeah, so we ate most of the donuts and all of the coffee. We didn't have much for anybody. We were like, "Where's Grant?" We gave him.
Grant came leaping over the logs like donut.
We're just stuffing food in Grant's face because he got pretty cold and he needed to get warm and lay down.
Because Grant showed up in a cotton sweatshirt and cotton shorts.
Yeah.
And with an apple, I think.
And some salami.
And some pizza. And he ordered a pizza before the race started.
And he had made plans for Saturday evening, or like
With his girlfriend.
He had made plans for dinner on whatever night. Determined to
And he kept texting me saying, 4 more hours, honey, 4 more hours.
or delayed again. So
He'd be laying in the boat, texting.
He had his own struggles. He had his own struggles that were outside of the boat, and that's really, we can't.
That's it. That's all we can say about
That's
it.
it.
All we can say about that.
That's all we should say about that because this is going on.
So then we're setting out for the second half of our race, and we're like, cool, it's daytime. We're gonna crush through the second half. It's gonna be so much faster. I don't know how much longer we thought it was gonna take, but
Yeah, we thought we were going to get home at
I think
daylight.
the clock was gone at that point.
yeah, we thought we'd get home by like 7 p.m. on Saturday. And or get to Port Town then. And so we set out, and I was coxing and like eating energy chews and perking myself back up since I hadn't slept yet. And we're kind of like making our way up, and it was so different. Like the sunrise had been so cool and gray, and then it was kind of like hot and humid. Like I think we saw the fog that people were stuck in, but on our side of it, it was just like
It was
thick
heating up.
and weird, hot. And so we were like in tank tops and like putting on sunscreen and like
Not worried about getting splashed.
Yeah, putting on
Yeah.
mineral sunscreen. It's
Don't
a
trust
sham.
it.
My
Yeah.
face got fried. My lips are still burning. My hands got burnt. I mean,
mine
it was
said Rubs
like-
and Clear, and I was like zinced up
Yeah.
all over the place. So we set out. We were in really good spirits and like sticking to our rotations and kind of crushing through that. And felt like we hit a rhythm.
Yep.
And then we got up to point no point.
We before that I was coxing and we got like 3 big freighter waves coming in. And so I live in Port Townsend. I come to Seattle 3 days a week, and I've been watching that water there, and because the freighters, I'm like, what do we do with the freighters? We got a big boat. I think it can handle it, but what do we do with the freighter waves? Because some of them pick up to. I mean, Rob knows this. Rob Casey, 5, 6. I mean, I've seen some 6-foot waves come in there, and I'm like, I don't know if the Dennis Dunn can handle the 6-foot waves coming in. We hit 3 in a row, one after another, and actually with that, I think that was where we tested the boat and we tested ourselves. These guys
I
set
know,
the
because I
boat.
saw it coming and I was like,
These guys
"Ooh,
set the
this is
boat.
gonna be
I
fun."
ruddered us right at. I'm like, I'm just gonna go over it as if I'm on my paddleboard because it's the only thing I know how to do. And so we went up, so like the bow was like up and then down, and then I'm like, and you couldn't see the next wave. I'm like, oh man, if there's more than 3 or 4 of these waves, we're history. And we hit 3 of them. It settled back down. We all cheered. Like the Danny Dog did it again. And
Not
then
a drop in the boat. It
and
was
then
amazing.
and we didn't get any water in the boat, and that's when we hit right. That
Yeah.
was like maybe a mile or 2 from
Point no
Point
point.
No Point.
So we got around point no point and decided to rest our butts again, and so we were just kind of hanging out because it was calm. And then
Well, we got part way to foul weather,
Yeah.
where we did a coxswain switch.
Yes,
No,
we
we didn't.
No, we didn't.
First we rested.
That's when everything went to
This is
shit.
where everything goes
This is where your
blurry.
mind is blanking out
Yes.
because it went painful.
It went to shit.
Okay, so we kept going because you had a little bit more of your shift to go, and then
that's right, that's
we traded you and Grant, and I was like, I'm gonna take this opportunity in the calm water to go pee. So I dropped my hands, and I've got my butt out over the rigger, and then we see this like scary wake water monster coming at us, and everybody's like, get back in the boat. So I
Like,
send
we
my
gotta
naked
go,
butt
we
back
gotta
down,
go.
and we're like rowing like like I gotta drop out. I don't have pants on.
Well, that wasn't as bad as when I dropped trout in front of the three-guy kayak. At the very beginning of the race, I had to pee, and I've never peed over the side. They're like, just stick your butt over the side, and I'm like ready to go, and I look, and there's the 3 guys in the kayak.
are just chugging right at us.
My pee just went right back up, and I was like, I am not peeing for like another 5 hours until they taught me how to pee in a sponge. That's how I learned it. That's how I peed in the footwell in a sponge, and then you clean it up. It actually works really well.
So once we saw that big wake water coming at us, we realized that like we had basically drifted back in 5 minutes what had taken us 20 minutes to row.
Wow.
And we were like, oh no, this is like the thing we had all dreaded could happen. And so we started rowing like basically full pressure. We were like inching along, and I think because we had gotten so far out from point no point, we were in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
So we weren't making any progress, and we were far enough out that we couldn't, like, you couldn't tell if you weren't making progress, because it was like, we got a little farther on that shore, but we're less far on that shore, and it was like, yeah, something was weird. So we decided to cut back to shore, and we also saw all these smaller rowboats, like, just cruising along the shore, no problem. So we cut back to shore, and by the time we got there, we had, like, gassed ourselves.
And the north wind was really
It
strong.
was like 2 hours of no progress, and so we decided to pull out on the beach and like regroup.
Breakdown Beach.
Breakdown Beach. We set up a new civilization there, and just like this is our home now.
We're actually west of town by about half a mile on a private beach.
And it was still hot and sunny, so all of our wet stuff got laid out. The boat took a wake right as we got into the beach, and all the wells filled up.
Yeah.
So I'm pumping that out. Grant's
really
food is destroyed. My clothes are wet. You know, it was a big mess.
We met the clumsy turtles pulled in right behind us, so we went over and met them, and they were kind of like not sure what to do. I guess they're both fairly new rowers, and so we kind of like told them our plan and talked with them a bit, and then some of our team went up to get burgers. Julie and I slept on the beach, and then the clumsy turtles came and met you guys at the restaurant.
And the clumsy turtles, they may have only been rowing for 6 weeks maybe, but they had also built their rowboat shell.
It was
It was
very
really
cool.
lovely.
And they brought it out from Minnesota. It was really cool. And their parents were there, and it was really
Yeah,
they were cool.
very
They were really nice.
impressive.
They were really nice guys.
Yeah.
So we went into town and we like climbed up through this like house backyard, and we like knocked on the guy's door, and Margaret's kind of in tears, and can we camp on your beach? We're camped on your beach. We're really not going anywhere. And can we walk through your yard to go to town? And he was like, yeah. Like, sure.
It was super nice, and that's when I teared up because he was so nice, and I was like, thank you. So I toddled off, and we got him a thank you card.
Yeah, we trudged into town, got burgers, got Coca-Colas. I haven't had a Coca-Cola in like 25 years. It saved my life. Just a little sugar
I know,
high.
man, that was the best.
Yeah, and then we talked to Rob on the phone, Rob Casey, and what did we do? We got a little intel from Rob, probably. And then
What did he say? Yeah, what did Rob say?
He told us to be in the moment and get back in the boat and finish the race.
That's very
That's really what he told us, which was exactly what we needed to do. And so we got back to the beach, we all rallied, and that, to me, that feels like that was where we clicked, we became the team. You know, that was where we brought it together because we were about to face the
Hardest part of the race.
just the wickedest part of the race. We had no idea what was coming. We just thought it was, because it was glass when we went out, we thought, well, it's going to be a lot like the rest. It's just that it's, we've put 50 miles behind us, our butts hurt, and it's going to be we're going to be more sore, but it was really hard. It was really hard. That last stretch was, and I knew it was hard. Everybody said it's hard. I've heard everybody's stories from last year and from who's done it, but like until you go through,
Until you're a mile from land in all directions and it's getting dark, it's like
more than a mile. It's and then we got right out into the middle, and the wind and the swell,
and then the wind picked up.
Pause. So we Julie and I had napped on the beach. And then when we got going again, the water was really nice, but the sun was starting to go down. So we loaded back in, and I was coxing, and it was like glass from Hansville to Foulweather Bluff, and we cut our way across, and we were making good time, and then we got like, I'd say like 10 minutes past foul weather bluff, and the wakes picked up big time, and it got really rough.
in the middle.
Right in the middle. And during the first half, once we were past that, I was very nervous because I could see how far we were from land, but they were all like chipper, like, yeah, we're back at it, here we go.
Because the land was right there to
Yeah,
us.
so
I mean,
they were looking at the land right there, and it was light out, and then the sun went down, we crossed the halfway point, and now I'm looking at the last bit of light. They're looking at like dark gloom and the land going off in the distance, and they all went into the pit of despair.
And the water. There was, yeah.
Who cried?
So it was cry rowing.
I did not cry. I was making contingency plans. and
One of those
I was
crying.
like, where is my knife? What do we do if this boat goes over? I know I've been really wishing hard for a whale, but this is not the time that I want that whale to do this. Or the whale can be over there, but not right here.
Yeah.
But I didn't know until later that there had been a lot of cry rowing. Was Greg cry rowing?
He was grunt rowing.
Grunt
He was grunt
rowing.
rowing. I was cry rowing. Margaret was counting cry rowing.
Zoe told me to start counting. I don't know how much I counted, but it was a lot.
So we got through that, and then the patch from there to the canal was really beautiful, and we saw tons of stars, bioluminescence, and got our
The
morale back.
bioluminescence was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And then, and then I don't know, last stretch in.
The last stretch in, we're in the canal and we're going 1.1.
We did another coxswain
Yeah, we did
ship.
cock switch.
But before that, we were all playing.
So
the Coast Guard came. The Coast Guard
So
comes by.
we were taking these breaks. So we're in our our Cox quad, and our breaks basically looked like something had happened very bad. It had gone very Jonestown in the boat, and we were all laid out and just dead.
Feet up.
I was sleeping. I would totally sleep.
And so we're laying there, and we had heard on the radio that the Coast Guard was coming out to offer assistance to someone out in that bay, and the Coast Guard boat comes
Very slowly.
creeping up. We're like, hello, this is the Coast Guard. Are you okay? We're like, we're just resting, thank you. Like, there's this deep pause. They're like, okay, that's loud. We're gonna carry on then. We're like, okay, thank you. And there was almost like another little pause, like, are they really okay? And then they shoot away, and so we were
could
just.
really see where our feet up, because we had our feet up on the ringers and our heads and everything else were in the boat.
We just laid out flat.
And nobody really picked their head up to acknowledge them.
No, I think I raised my hand like, yep.
So, I'm sorry to cut you off. It's a long interview. What time was it when you got in?
1:38
a.m.
Yeah.
We were trying really hard to look like we had our stuff together, but we did not look like we had our stuff together.
I'm fine.
I'm so proud of us.
Yeah.
Should be.
And
Really chipper when you have to be.
all of the support and all of the race crew and
all of
just
you guys,
everybody and the
it's just so
fellow
great.
competitors. It was just amazing, the camaraderie out there. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Teamwork, man.